Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Soulcast, where we are interviewing the beautiful Ashley, who is a Pisces from North Carolina. Yes, I said Pisces. It matters because we are talking about intuition and intuitive pulls. We talk about our experiences with intuition, what kind of intuitive pulls that we come across on our day-to-day basis, how to identify it, what it looks like for us personally, and hopefully we can help you guys gain some more insight on what you can do with your intuition. Are y'all ready? Let's get into it. Hello. What's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in to Soulcast. This is a podcast where we allow the soul to broadcast information, knowledge, wisdom, quotes, opinions, and so much more. Reminding everyone who is listening that this is only, and I mean only, for informative purposes. I only speak from my own experiences, okay? What is spoken on Soulcast are my truths, my beliefs, and it's all based off of what I've learned from others around me, what I've read in books, and what I experienced entirely on my own. Soulcast is here to express, shine light on, and challenge all things mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. Everything is up for discussion over here, okay? Feel free to email us for topics you'd like us to discuss. It'll be below in every episode details, okay? Now, let's get into the good stuff. I'm Mila Nunez, your host. Let's talk about it. Hi, Ashley. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good, It's been a day, but we're here, gotta make it happen. He's been me.
It's one of those days.
Yeah, it is. Well, first and foremost, tell me about you. Let the audience know where you're from, your name, what do you do for work, all the things. Let us know who Ashley is.
Yeah, so Ashley is from North Carolina, so born and raised. My career, I'm really passionate in healthcare, so in leadership. So I'm an operations manager. Outside of a career, I would like to call myself a creative. Really about the arts. I like to identify myself as the great.
Oh, the great. Okay.
Yeah, never leave it off. The great.
All right, what kind of art?
All arts, really, like the visual arts. Of course, photography is really big in my life. So, pretty much anything. You give me a museum, paintbrush, a camera. So.
Oh, all right. Jack of all trades, I see.
A little bit.
Well, okay, so for work, what is it that you do for work?
So I manage a team of somewhat of providers, mostly medical assistants, but for a hormone replacement therapy company.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I got to get the balance. More people in the world should probably take hormones to be a better place.
Yeah, no, it's actually really important for mental health, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
Keeping you balanced. I'm sure you know all about that. So how long have you been doing that?
So, fairly new to that, only almost a year. I've been in operations in the healthcare field for almost 7 years, but yeah, with this company for about a year.
Is there any specific reason as to why you joined that field as an operations manager?
So I kind of wanted to do something different. My last job that I had was going to pretty much cap me off. Mm-hmm. And I'm not in a place in my life where I'm going to cap my career off.
Right.
So just looking for other operations. I knew I wanted to stay in operations. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just landed on it, not necessarily seeking to be in hormone replacement therapy, but I kind of landed on it.
Okay, cool. All right. And what do you do outside of work?
Right now nurturing my business. And still just being about the arts.
Yeah. Right. Okay, well tell us about your business.
So it's called the Frequency brand. So it's all about frequencies and how we're frequency, how God is frequency, humans are frequencies. Right. So we just navigate through different spaces, relationships, family relationships, friend relationships, your relationship with your career, your relationship, any type of relationship. We, navigate through those spaces, to create healthy spaces and connections is very important. And how connections shape who we are.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually like that because, again, this is Mind Soul Dance, this is Soul Cast, so we're kind of trying to transmit our message to everybody else, and obviously that has to happen on a certain type of frequency, right? For people to understand and kind of listen and agree and relate, so that's actually really dope, and that's one of the reasons why I actually wanted to bring you on, because that your brand is very unique and it's very necessary to have in today's world right now. So I love that. So what do you want to talk about? What brings you on? What's going on? Let's talk about it.
So I think we're here for the intuitive pulls today.
Oh, intuitive pulls.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Okay, all right. Okay, so intuitive pulls. What do you mean by that?
So we always hear the word intuition, right? Mm-hmm. And when you hear intuition, you think hunch, you think deja vu. You even think like this sixth sense. Mm-hmm. But I think the reality of it is not everyone is, gifted with it. And I think an intuitive pull is much different. It's much deeper. It's much more of a heavy hitter than just like, oh, I got intuition. I got this feeling. And a lot of people don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to identify it. They don't know how to land on trusting it, or it can be difficult.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So by definition, I guess just with your experience and like how you see it, what do you define intuition as? What's your definition for it?
I think it's God. Okay. I think that it's God in the ways in which He communicates to us. I think He communicates to us like through the non-verbals and the verbals, right? So He works through people. We work through nature, like things that we have, careers, social media, things we read, we see. We could be walking past and just see a word on a building,
right? And
somehow that resonates with you as communication from something, from somewhere. And I think ultimately, I think God is intuition.
Okay, I like that. Wow. Okay, I guess for me, intuition, because again, it depends on the person, right?
Sure.
What they deem as intuition, and for me, I can agree entirely with what you said. Like there are certain things that I see, and I'm like, why am I looking at this thing? Like, why is that billboard saying this? Because obviously it's for me, because I'm connecting with it, and I'm like, okay, and then like 2 days later, it's like, oh, I saw a billboard that said this, so like, I guess for me, it's more so for within my body, I think it's more so a feeling. Like, I think we were talking about this the other day, where it's like, I have this feeling that I should be doing something, or something doesn't feel right. So it's like, some people would, identify that maybe as instinct, but I also believe that's a little bit different on my end too, but intuitive is just like, it is at a frequency level, right? It's at a vibration for me. And so I like that you say that when you can connect with that in a certain level, like it registers with people differently, but also with yourself. Like, it's just like, it's a knowing, it's an inner knowing, it's an inner voice, it's an inner like channel that only you can tap in that moment with whatever it is that you're connecting to, right? So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, okay. and I'm connecting with what you said, like 100%. Yeah. I think that's an extension of that.
Right.
For sure.
Right. All right. So do you know what your intuition sounds or feels like?
I think now, yes. Okay. I think early on in trying to figure out what this is.
Right.
Or like, why am I experiencing things like in a much deeper level? Like, why am I vibrating differently than just someone saying that, oh, I got this feeling.
Right.
That's not what it was, So having years of navigating through it, I think now I'm pretty solid in how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds, I think for me it comes in two different ways. Like, it comes in the form of dreams, and then in the form of a pool, right? Like a pool. So a dream is more visual, right? You can see the things happening. You can feel in a dream too, right? You can hear sounds, or in the dream you can essentially hear people talking or you exchanging information. So I think that's more so what it sounds like. But the feeling of it, I'm not 100% sure I can provide a description. And I think that's what makes it different. Like, I can't actually describe to you how I feel. Like, I can give you a list of feelings or emotions, or you can land on those, but how would I differentiate between that and just a regular emotion? Right. So I think that's why it's difficult to describe how it actually feels if you're not a person that deals with intuitive pools.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because, for example, if we were to say something, we're just like, oh, I just need to go, or hey, let's just do this, like, let's not, or oh, friends want you to go out, and you're like, nah, I'm not feeling it, like, we can say it like, oh, I'm not feeling it, like, oh, I'm not feeling good, but it's like something's telling us like we're not going, or we don't even know. It's just like, no, we're not going.
Yeah, we're not.
We don't know, So it's interesting for those who don't deal with that on a day-to-day basis, or at least that tapped in or connected and one with themselves, for them to identify that, right? So it does take time. I'm thinking about it now. I'm just like, what? It takes a lot of time, because it took me a while, right? Yeah. Like, I've always heard this voice, or I've always had this feeling, and I went against it every time. The time that I did, it's like, I knew I should have. I knew I should have, So I like that you said that, because it's sometimes you can't describe it. It's just an inner knowing, right? So. So tell me about a time where just like, how and when did you start to trust that, that inner knowing, that intuition?
I think when it really got solid for me, right, is I got a cute little elevator story. Okay. So prior to this, I had dreams that turned out to have meaning. So I'm questioning these, like, I'm dreaming, and no matter what amount of time goes by, I either know that they have meaning because something happened, or I feel like they have meaning, right? Right. But it wasn't until I went to college, and me and my friends, we were in the dorm, and it was a high-rise building, so we had to get on the elevator. And I got on the elevator, and something like, of course, the process of an elevator is not that long, right? Right. You get in, the door opens, closes, like, Right. So it wasn't a long, extended amount of time, and I get on, and something like yanks at me. It was like, get out the elevator, let's get stuck. I immediately ignore it. I don't know what that voice is. I'm like, and that's crazy. Like, I wouldn't know that. So it yanks on me again the second time. So I like kind of tell my friends, like, in a joking way, like, y'all, the elevator gonna get stuck. And they laugh, because I'm just like, what? So it yanks on me this third time, and I'm like, oh shit, this elevator getting stuck for real. Because this is the third time. So I get off. Right. They don't get off. And the elevator, of course, gets stuck. It gets stuck. So we laugh about it. They're like, oh my God, you an oracle or whatever. And I'm like, I laugh it off, but I go back to my dorm room, and it bothers me. Like, days and weeks, and it's on my mind. I'm like, something is happening to me that's not happening to other people. Like, how did I know the elevator was going to get stuck? I had no explanation for it. I couldn't tell you how I knew. I could tell you that it was a pool, but at that point in time, I didn't have enough information about myself or about intuitive pools or intuition to be able to tell you how I knew that elevator was going to get stuck. I couldn't. So I started research at that time. Started doing a little bit of research, and then I think that's the moment when I started to say, hey, whatever this is, whatever dreams I've experienced before this and I question, now is the time to actually trust this. And to trust that I need to figure out what it is. Right. So I think that was a turning point for my trust in it.
Ooh, that's one story, though, because to think about how many people have had those moments, or, imagine those who have had that moment and they kind of just brush it off. You decided to be like, okay, what is this? Because, like, it's one of the I can't explain it kind of things, right? So it's just the fact that you went the extra mile and was like, what, let me research, let me figure this out. Like, what does this mean? Like, because I'm pretty sure it's not the first time, like you stated. Like, you've had many of them, but it wasn't until, like, you listened that day that where it was like, it pulled at you 3 times. Yeah. And you listened quickly, and then boom. You know, so like, let me ask you this. With that being said, how did you deal with people who rejecting, what gifts you have? Like, how did you deal with that? Did you come across of any moments of that, or?
Yeah, not so much in my circle, because the people I have in my circle that I had at that time are some pretty dope people, and that some of them are still in my circle now. They're like, oh my God, you're an oracle. Like, I want to know more about it because, like, birds of a feather tend to flock together. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? They didn't have the mindset of, like, you crazy or whatever. But there were times when I dreamed about specific people and I was torn between whether to tell them or not. Like, should I tell them? Because if I woke up and I felt like this particular dream has meaning, should I tell them? Because most of my dreams didn't actually unfold in the way that I dreamed them, And so I did have a situation where I told someone a dream, and they kind of essentially said, "Oh, you crazy? Like, why are you telling me this?" And I'm like, I feel like it has some meaning, but I'm gonna leave it there. Like, I'm not going to go into this grave detail about what I feel about it or whether this will unfold the way that I dreamed it. But so they did, and something actually did happen to them. It wasn't exactly how I dreamed it, but I never had a follow-up conversation with them about it or whatever. But I have been told, like, why would you tell me that? Like, you crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very interesting because a lot of people are aware that, some, wisdom, right? Or knowledge or an inner knowing or a gut feeling, right? And if you're friends or if it's someone you would think that they'd just be like, all right, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Sure. But not like, oh, you're crazy. How does it make you feel when people, like, for those who have rejected or like kind of just brush it to the side, like, how did it make you feel?
I've never been one to have a lot of emotions. The older I get, the more emotions I have now. But I did during that time period, I definitely did.
Right.
Very emotionless, not easily bothered, not easily persuaded, not easily offended. Very one note. Like, so then no. I would think so, more so now, probably still more. I might have more of an emotion behind it versus like more so like self-reflecting on the situation versus, but I still don't think I would have like, it would still have like an effect on me.
Like an emotional
Like,
reaction.
yeah, I don't think so.
Do you think because of the like you said that you didn't have that much emotion attached to certain situations and experiences, right? Do you believe because of your intuition and of like your strong presence of an inner knowing, like it kind of helps you be grounded and like solidified in your position with whether it's work, school, relationships, whatever, do you feel like it's based off of your intuitive pulls, or like how do you think those two go hand in hand?
I think so. I think it helps me stay grounded now because I'm solid in it. I trust in it. So I think it does help me stay grounded because it gives those feelings. I don't have as many dreams now as I did younger, like teenage years, because I was like scared of it a little bit.
Right.
So I started asking God, like, I don't want to do that. I want to dream that. So it's more so now pulls. I still have dreams, but it's more so in the way of feeling. So I think those feelings help to keep me grounded. Like whether it's about me, my loved ones, because not all intuitive pulls are bad.
Right.
They're not all bad. Intuition is always associated to me. It always has a negative connotation on it, but I don't think that it's all bad.
Right. I don't think so either. I think it could be beneficial, but it's also the path. There I feel like there's also paths you can take to still get that same result. Say that you saw something, right? And there's multiple ways how someone can get to that route, right? It could be a good way, or it could be a bad way.
Yeah.
It just dependent, right? So it depends on the person, right? So tell me about a time where like you've actually doubted it and rejected it and just didn't listen to it. How? What was the result of that? Let's get into that part because we do that. We do that a lot. So let me hear it.
So I think it's natural early on, of course, in the process of figuring out what is happening to you to doubt. That's natural. I think the time where I doubted it the first time I doubted it after being solid in it was most recent, like more of a recent event. So just a little bit of backstory on me. Like, I have never been a person of trust, right? Like, I mean, this dates back to childhood. Right. Like, people would tell me, like, my family would tell me, like, you never even trusted as a child. Like, you just trust nobody but your dad. Like, I'm a huge daddy's girl. Like, that's my favorite man walking the planet Earth. So if you weren't him, like, I didn't need to trust you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, even when I'm now in teenage years and I'm getting into friendships and relationships, I don't, and I don't have a bad childhood that's like, I gave all this trust out and people disappointed me. Like, that's not it, because I never had trust anyway. Right. So I get into these relationship spaces and friendships that I probably should have had the opportunity to gain trust, but I never did because they were toxic. I had a lot of toxic relationships. I've been in every type of relationship you probably can imagine, like, and those spaces didn't give me the avenue to trust until more recently. When I met her, you know, when I met her, we got into a dating space, we got into a relationship, we, like, very healthy space. We had this, like, crazy connection. I mean, like, electricity, like a connection I never seen before. I mean, you talking about strangers coming up to us, like, it's something about y'all, like, y'all, this is crazy, you know, the people we love. So operating in a space like that, I started to trust her, something I never done before. Right. So the trust is getting deeper and deeper. The deeper our connection gets, the more, you know, we're vulnerable with each other, whereas I've never been before. And our trust is like, my trust for her is like rock solid. I trust this girl with my life. Like, I trust her, the ins and outs, and who I am. So unfortunately, we separate, right? So when we separate, I started to get some pulls that in a particular situation. The pulls were soft, like really soft pulls, and I'm ignoring them because I trust her. So with what the pull was informing me, I'm telling myself there's no way, because I trust her that she would never do that, you know? So they're getting a little bit stronger, the pulls, and then I dream. So I'm like, okay, I'm ignoring the pulls. I go to the dream because I'm doubting that the pulls are right, you know? I'm doubting that the dream, I even dream. And then after the dream, and I don't take heed to that, I then start, the pulls getting harder. So the pulls, they ended up being so bad that I was uneasy. I couldn't sleep. Now I'm restless. So it's like, okay, actually enough is enough. You gotta let that trust go, and you just gotta have to inquire about it. And that's what I did. Right. And of course, as you can guess, it was right. It was true. So that's the first time I ever doubted it after being solid in what this is. I doubted it. And I doubted it because I trusted her more. So essentially, like, from the outside looking in, it's like you allowed a trust for a person to trump your intuition and trump all those pulls. Yeah. So I think that was the first time I've ever doubted it since then.
Ooh, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to it. Without that much context, we already know what this could be, right? For sure. That's wild. Yeah. That's how, like, so what was the result? Like, what was it, the separation that happened because of, you know, you inquired about the information, right? So what happened afterwards?
Yeah, the information that I was being pulled on actually didn't have anything to do with our relationship. You know, it was something, it was a personal thing for her. But it was a thing that I felt she owed me because of our connection. Right. You know, and we may have different opinions on what she owes me and what, you know, I owe her or we owe each other, but I don't feel like if it was a thing that she didn't owe the connection, then I wouldn't have had the pulls about it. Right. Like, I feel like that wouldn't have been a thing. You get what I'm saying? So it didn't really change the dynamic of us. So naturally, right after it happened, I put a question mark on her, right? Immediately.
Because you trust them, right?
Right.
You started trusting.
Mind you, I never trusted nobody before, so she was the first one. So this happens, and I immediately put a question mark on top of her head. I started to go back in the timeline, and I'm questioning things that were said. I'm questioning things that were done. I'm questioning, like, is she who I think she is? Is this the person that I trust in my life? Like, I naturally not that I chose to do those things, I just naturally started to do it. And the only reason why I took the question mark off of her is because of God. Like, I know that in all things I trust him, right? I trust God in all things. And I see God in her. I see God in her the way she speaks. I see God in the way that she treats her loved ones, the people she loves, the people that she loves romantically, the people she loves in her friendships, her community. I see how she treats her career and her goals and her, anything that she touches, I see God in that. Like, it's so pure. I know her heart is pure. I know, like, her heart's posture is just, like, upright in between, like, it's just lined up with God. And because I see those things, it would have been unfair to her to keep that question mark on her and to say that I trust God and to see God in her and not trust that.
Not trust what he put in front of you.
Exactly. So it was like this domino effect of stuff, right? It was. So now that I took the question mark off, I now question my intuition. Like, why did I allow that trust to trump it? So then I kind of, like, in my mind, like, create a battle between the two. I create a battle between trust and intuition, but you would think that they live together because you got to have one or the other. But what I landed on through that situation is that it's not a battle between the two, that it's a matter of checks and balances. And when I landed on that, it made me feel better about the fact that I wasn't wrong for trusting her. Because that's what my natural self questioned. Like, you shouldn't have trusted her over your intuition. You know what I'm saying? You should have trusted that what your intuition told you that was true. Even though, of course, when I was being pulled, I considered it, obviously. Because it's my intuition and it belongs to me. But I didn't trust it. I doubted it. And I kind of beat myself up for that until I'm like, no, it's not a matter of battle. They can live together. It's just a matter of checks and balances.
How long did it take you to come to that realization?
It took some time. It's some time because love is involved. Love is involved in trust. So, and the way in which I love her is also the way is how I got so deeply rooted in trust. So all those things had to be unpacked.
Right.
And that took some time. It wasn't days. It wasn't weeks.
Yeah.
So it took some time. It's definitely not a quick turnover.
Right. And I think that's also important to notate that time is just so taken for granted, right? So, like, we think a week or two or a few months. Nah, it could take years.
Oh, for sure.
It could take years depending on what you personally are unpacking and who you're dealing with, right? So it's always about the person. Well, not necessarily about the person, but it's also about, like, the behaviors and, like, what it was. I think that because you openly and were willing to trust this person, and for that to happen, it does take someone a little bit longer to be like, you know what? The first time I want to try and trust someone, this happened?
And it'll never be me again.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely was that thing.
Yeah, that's wild, But I'm really glad that you were able to come to that realization, and just be like, you know what? Like, they can live together, right?
Yeah,
because sometimes people also put it in a context of, like, your mind or your thoughts versus your feelings, or your mind versus your heart, your head versus like, it can be those two as well, and it's crazy because I've had similar situation, right, where for me, all of my relationships, I always knew something was like, there was always something, right? And being, just so you guys know, she's a Pisces, I'm a Cancer. So that means we are the most intuitive, right? So we are tapped in. And so when we know, we know. We have this, like, for you, it's a pull. For me, it's like a feeling. Sometimes it comes in a word, sometimes, or like a thoughts, I would say. And then sometimes it goes to a feeling like, I don't know what this is, but I need to figure it out. Because something is telling me something's not right. You know what I'm saying? And so in one of my relationships, I would say, is that, which one do I choose? So,
choose the Libra one.
The Libra one.
Oh, I knew you was going to do it. It's always a story with them.
It's always one of them. So I knew I was given certain information, right? To kind of make it seem like I was being told all of everything, right? But then also told there's still this one thing. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, whatever. It must not be that big, you know. But in the midst of the relationship, there's still something like we're vibing, we're cool, it's chill. Like I could be vulnerable with this person, and I'm in a deep, deep state of like darkness because I was grieving, right? And so, but something was off. I was like, something's off. Like it just doesn't feel right, you know? And so like I kept asking. I kept asking certain things. I kept inquiring about things, and this nothing. I'm just like, okay, well, it still feels something's off, and I don't know what it is. It's not a thought. It's nothing saying, oh, this person's this, or you know, it's not coming up in thought form. It's just a feeling, and it's not like a gut feeling, but it's just like that inner knowing, like, hey, you know, there's something off here. And so months go by, you know, and I'm still like asking my friend, when you met them, did you feel any like no, what's the vibe?
Yeah.
Oh, they're cool, like and I'm just like, no, there's something off, you know. And I'm telling literally everybody that met this person or that knows that I'm talking to this person, literally telling them something's off.
Is it directional? Do you feel like I know something's off, but it's off in this way. It's off in this way. Like, is it descriptive almost? Like,
no, it kinda. Mm-hmm. So for the situation, something wasn't making sense to me, right? So when I was told that information, like I said before, it was like 1 + 1 wasn't 2, right?
And 2 + 2 was not 4.
You know what I'm saying? We were skipping some numbers. I'm like, there's a variable in there, and I don't know how to solve it. Yeah. And I'm coming up with nothing, right? So I'm just like, okay. But with this person, I think it was multiple things. It wasn't just that the lack of information or something. It was multiple things, but it wasn't. If it was directional, I would say it was going north, south, east, west, around, like all like the compass was broken.
That's why it wasn't directional.
Exactly. So as time goes by, you know, this person tells me this information. Very important. I think another reason why it wasn't directional was because universal intelligence is real. Like, it doesn't matter. It wasn't aligning with my morals and my values and my beliefs. So for someone else, that could have been fine. Yeah. You know, but for me, I rely on trust and honesty and authenticity up front. Yeah. You know, if I'm telling you my brother just died and I'm going through this and I'm going through this and that and this is where I'm at, I honestly would like the reciprocation, you know, and that's just me.
Anything else is slight.
Exactly. That's where the trust came in. I don't feel like I can trust you no more, right? So that, like, after that, I'm questioning my intuition because I was like, I knew it. I knew there was something off, you know. So like you said, you start going back in time. Like, this wasn't making sense. This wasn't making sense.
Oh, they put their shoes this way that day.
It's the little things that you start noticing. So that's wild. I know y'all out there, like, y'all relate to both of our stories, regardless of it. Sure. You know, like it's so common, you know, but it's not as talked about. It's not as addressed. It makes us feel like we're crazy. We start getting gaslit by society, for sure, or family and friends, right? So, like, with that case, like, what advice would you give to people who are going through this, like, development or this, you know, acknowledging this voice and this intuition within themselves? Like, what advice would you give them, being that you've overcome it and, you know, you're trusting of your own now?
I would say, you know, for those who are spiritual and you believe in God, trust in God in all you do, you know. And whatever you trust in that. If it's not God, trust in whatever entity or whatever you trust in. Because people are important. I used to be a person who didn't necessarily need people. Right. Like, I used to be a person that, you know, marched to the beat of her own drum. I used to be the person who didn't like. I was just like this independent person, even in the midst of people. You know, all I needed was my chaos, and that was it. That's all I needed.
Pisces.
Pisces. But what I learned is that the only way to identify who you are and what you're going through and who you will be is solid people in your life. They are the ones that can challenge you to look at yourself. They're the ones that can challenge you with who you are. They're the ones that can undo that. Who you think you are, they can undo that in ways that you're not able at all times to do for yourself.
Right.
They can see you through a different lens. Even if you're able to if you're the person that can put on different lenses, they're able to put on a lens that you're not capable of, right? So if you trust these people, have good, solid people in your circle. You don't need 1,000 people in your circle. You need a good, solid few number. And if they're solid, that's all you need.
Right.
But you need solid people in your corner because they're going to give you experiences. The experiences that you have and you share with them, they're going to be able to provide you a perspective that you didn't have on your own. And those people that you love and that are solid, you can learn through their experiences and you can identify something about yourself through something they went through. Even if you didn't go and, experience it on your own, you can learn things. I think that's the way. People in your life, that's your mirror. That's the way you can look back at yourself. Because those are the people that's going to challenge you. They're going to tell you the truth. They're going to be honest with you even when it hurts. Like, you know what I mean? My closest friends are the people that kind of help me land on being solid in this intuition. Because typically your intuition is about other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's about yourself sometimes, but typically it's about other people.
Right.
Even if you're involved in it, you know? One of my best friends, she told me, like, she called me one day and she was like, yo, I think you touched into a psychic realm. Like, I was just sitting and thinking about you. Because I had just had a situation where, like, I knew the name of this person. And I knew I would come in and encounter with them. And she heard about this person before I did. And she was like, yo, your new manager is named Casey. Because I told her months before, I was like, I'm about to meet somebody named Casey. She was like, what? Brush it off. We went about our business. And I called her back and I'm like, and I think their name's going to end with an I. And she called me bugging out like, yo, because we worked at the same place. And she's like, yo, your new boss is named Casey and her name ended with an I. And she was like blown away. Like, it was one of them elevator stories. Like, how the hell did you know that?
Right.
I then got shocked myself because it had been a minute since I had one of those types of pulls. So I shocked myself, and she was like, weeks later, she was like, I think you touched into a second round. Like, I'm convinced that that's what it is, So I think it's people that's solid in your circle that'll tell you things that you don't necessarily. Because I never thought about it like that. I'm thinking I just got a strong intuition. I have intuitive pulls.
Right.
But she was the one that introduced it. Like, I think you touched into something psychic or something,
Okay.
So I think that's the way to trust yourself is through the eyes of the people that's solid with you.
So I'm having a moment to be vulnerable on my end. Is like I'm having a time where I want to trust everyone. And I have grown up all the time. Like, I just trust that people are going to be themselves, be honest, be real, just as much as I am, And so when faced through my experiences of learning that, maybe not everybody can be trusted, right?
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
dealing with that now. How do you differentiate and just have this knowing of who to trust and who not to trust, even if it's someone you just met, like how do you go about that? And like, is it still an intuitive pull? Is it a knowing? Is it just let time do its thing? Like, what is it?
I don't know if intuitive pulls or intuition is involved in my process of trusting people. I'm just anybody. Like, and it's something that I feel like it's given with. It's so many boxes that you would need to check for trust with me, right?
Right.
And nobody ever gets there. She's the only person that ever got there. So it's just like I think that the process for me personally, you would have to go through so many boxes to get there that trust is just not, my logic kicks in too much.
Right.
I'm just so much more logical. That's just like, it is crazy for me to think that I can trust you. It's crazy for me to think that you wouldn't slight me because I have no reason to think that you wouldn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay. So it's not until I get into this deep sense of trust, which is, let's go back to this situation, which is why that situation hurt me so much, because I felt that she would not slight me. And while we have differences on what slight is, like You know, she may not feel that situation slighted me, but I felt like because of the bond that we had, you know, loyalty, love, all those, you know, defining words, that's what should have kind of trumped all the logic behind the fact that we weren't together, we weren't title, all, you know, all of those things play into it. So if this person can even have an effect on whether I trust them or not, and I do trust them with my life still to this day, I still do, like, then someone like a stranger, there's no way you would ever get through that with me. That's me personally.
Right.
But I know people that trust people that give out trust like that. They, I've even heard one of my friends refer to it as, like, everybody starts at 100%. And then you just diminish it. Like, whatever you do, that's never the case with me.
That's me.
So I have heard that before. And I don't know whether it's Cancers, you know, you're a lot more emotional. And Pisces are, like, so I don't know whether it's that emotion, like, you just want to give out that trust. And, like, if they ding on it, they ding on it until they get to a 0. Or whatever is your limit. Maybe it's that. But I don't know if I'm a good person to say what's the process. Like, I mean, I'm going to keep it hot. Like, I don't know if I'm the best person because it was up to me. You would trust nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily always a good thing. I've learned, which is why I'm glad I had the experience to trust her. And I still do. And I'm glad that didn't affect whether I still trust her with my life to this day.
What's this person's sign?
She's a Cancer.
Oh, what? We the best.
Wow.
We the best.
You come second to Pisces though.
Look, on the us Cancers.
You come second to Pisces though. I give you the second place.
We are it. And let me tell you why.
Y'all it.
Because you trusted a Cancer.
I did.
You trusted a Cancer.
I did.
That's all I gotta say.
That's
all I gotta say.
I give credit where credit is due.
June or July?
She's July.
July Cancers are it, y'all. I'm telling y'all, go get you a July Cancer, but they're not for the week. I will let you know this now. No, but honestly, so like you said, touching back with the emotion part, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The thing about Cancers is that we are emotional, but it's not the emotional that everybody thinks it is.
Oh, for sure.
We are emotionally intelligent. We know exactly what we're feeling, why, and how to fix it. And if somebody else is responsible for that, then we're going to tell you what to do to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get this way on my own. You know, like I'll move sideways and pass all this if I need to.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just very interesting because as a lover, as a nurturer, as the mother of the signs, it's like we just want to love people. We just want to give people love and nurture and care for them and let them know that they are there. A lot of us, you know, we've had some tough roads, you know.
See, like, I agree with that. That's why you need a Cancer on your side.
Hey, y'all heard it here.
That's why you need a Cancer on your side. You need Pisces. To all my Pisces out there, get you a Cancer.
Hey.
To all my Cancers out there, get you a Pisces.
I got 3 of them.
You gotta get you a Pisces. Because where y'all want to get that love, we like, no, dog, you're not doing that. You're not doing that.
We balance each other out.
Checks and balances.
That's funny. Yeah, because
it's a dope pair.
Pisces. Yeah.
It's a dope pair.
I like that. So y'all heard it here. Pisces and Cancers, we up there. That's all I'm saying. Oh, goodness. So, I do want to ask, because we're talking about relationships, we're talking about emotions and feelings and experiences, right? This is going to be a real one because we're tapping in with mental health. We're tapping in with mindfulness, right? And growth and spiritual journeys. So how does one identify intuition versus trauma?
Okay, so trauma is a heavy hitter in itself, like, right? And I think if I could identify or differentiate between the two, I think it's how they're fueled, right? I think trauma is fueled by motive. I think it's motive. No, trauma can give us good experiences. It can give us bad experiences, but it can give us like rewarding situations. Like it can start growing. We can start growing behind it, or we can start learning behind it.
Like the light in the tunnel kind of thing.
Exactly. So, but I think it's still fueled by motive. I think the motive is to ruin your life. The motive is to keep you captive. I think the motive is to cripple you. That's the motive of trauma, right? So I think that's much different than intuition, because the motive of intuition is going to be protection. It wants to protect you. It wants to protect your loved ones. Sometimes it wants to protect strangers, because sometimes protecting a stranger may protect you. So I think it's how they're fueled is what is different between the two. Now I think trauma, in identifying whether it's trauma versus intuition. Let's say someone is torn between, oh my God, should I listen to this? Should I listen to this? I know it's either trauma or intuition. Which one should I go with? I think trauma is loud and wrong. Like, I think it's loud. It's very loud. It's very boisterous. It's just the best way to describe it is loud and wrong. You know, intuition or intuitive pulls are soft. They're progressive, you know, they're developing, so they start soft. They start innocent. They start like, you know, very juvenile. And then they get to the point where it's, you know, they're heavier. They're pulling tighter. And then it gets to the point where you can't ignore it. Right. You're losing sleep at night. You're uneasy. You can't rest. That's when it's like, you know, it's up there. But it's still never loud and wrong, though. It's still never like to the point where it's distracting you from something that you need to be in. I think that's what trauma does. I think trauma distracts you from where you're going, from what growth you need to be experiencing. I don't think that's ever what intuition does or what intuitive pull does. I think it keeps you on that path to take on whatever it's telling you, but it's never a distraction so that you get off that path. So I think if you consider those differences, I think you'll be able to identify whether it's trauma or whether it's intuition.
That's a nice answer. That's really, really good. I can honestly agree with that, because there are times where the loud and wrong was like, man, fuck that, this and that. And then that little voice, because it fits the situation. Like, you know what? You're right. Like, you're right. You having a whole, like, now, like, like, you having a whole conversation with the little loud and wrong. But then there's that other side, you know, after, you know, the loud and wrong was tired itself out. It's like, well, you don't even have to, like, don't even sweat it. Like, it didn't, you know, like, it is that difference of energy, right?
And then your third component is going to be your fear.
Exactly.
Fear is also a big component in intuition, too, because, like, that can keep you from listening to your intuition. And you don't want that. You don't want that, because that's what's going to make you listen to traumas. That's what's going to make you, if you're scared, like, you know. I don't think people think that having a great deal of fear or even a small amount of fear can hinder you from listening to your intuition. Like, it goes back to like the elevator story, right? Let's say the elevator got stuck and it told me to get off, but the only other way I can get up to another floor is the steps, right? If I had a fear of steps, I would be less likely to listen to my intuition, simply because I know that the only way for me to get up to the next floor is the steps, and I have a fear of steps. I have a fear of stairs. So that fear would interfere immediately with whether I listen to my intuition, because typically if we want to get over fear or conquer fears, we don't do it in an instant. We work toward it. And if I have to make a split decision whether I need to get off this elevator and go up a flight of steps that I am terrified of, and I don't even know whether the elevator gonna get stuck or not, because it's intuition. Nobody told me that. Like, so I gotta figure out whether I'm gonna trust that it's gonna get stuck or go up a flight of steps that I am terrified of. You're never gonna go up them steps. You're always gonna you're gonna caution on the side of fear. So I would say for the listeners, be careful of that third component, fear, because it'll keep you stuck every time.
As we were talking about earlier, how you can have the whole, like, this is what it is, but it's about the path, right? Which path are you gonna choose? You know, which one? It's like the little angel and the devil on the shoulders, right? Which one are you gonna listen to? Yeah. That's interesting, because I've noticed, like today, my low pressure tire, whatever it's called, comes on. A little light comes on. I'm like, oh damn, here we go. I go to the gym. Afterwards, I'm driving. As I'm driving, there's this thing. You should stop at this gas station right here. Very subtle. And I was like, and I'm already in turning lane, lights turning green. I was like, I'll just go this way. I'll just go to the one closer to the house. I get there, and there's this big old truck just blocking the air machine. I'm like, It's as little as that. It's as little as that. Like, okay, so I'm not getting air right here because, it was suggested stop at this one because we're right here. And then now it's like, now I gotta go to another one. Because how long am I gonna wait for this guy to move? The guy didn't speak English. The driver wasn't even in the thing. You know? So, like, it's as little as trusting those moments, right? Those moments, it's suggested. It's like, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? No, you should just go this way. As for trauma and fear, it's a demand, right? It's like, do this. Do that because it's reactive, right? Sure. So that's interesting. That's interesting.
Because trauma would have took you all the way home, and you wouldn't stop at no gas station, and you would have got up the next morning with a flat tire.
Right.
That's what trauma would have did for you.
Right.
That's what trauma and or fear would have done for you.
Damn. That's good because even look, and then after that, I ended up just being like, okay, I'm gonna get ready for work. I got an hour and a half. Yeah. I got time. I put air on my tires though. That's like you said. I hear the voice. You got this. You gotta do this. Let's do that. It could be as little as day-to-day tasks. It could be as little as brush your teeth, Mila. Like no, I just wait till the brush your teeth. Then you meet someone. You're just like, oh shit, my breath kicking. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what you get.
So I think also another thing for you guys to understand, those who are listening, is that. The way to trusting on a deeper level is trusting those little moments where it's like, oh, should I wear this color? Should I wear that color? Trusting it in those little moments, and over time you start trusting over and over and knowing and becoming more familiar and recognizing that voice, so that when you are placed with life-threatening choices that you need to make, or when when you're faced with a decision whether you should leave or stay, you should quit or not, any circumstance in your life, like you'll be more familiar and comfortable with making those decisions. Yeah. And
that's dope. I would say journal too. Write them down. Write them down. Like if you feel like they're not, turning over, or the way that you dreamed it, or the way that you feel it, or if you're not able to like describe it in a sentence, just write down the words that you're associating with the feeling, and then a couple of weeks later, sometimes it's weeks, sometimes it's days, sometimes it's years. Like I had a dream, and it's like a year later, and immediately when it happened, I immediately thought about the dream, like instantly, because I have a connection with it.
Right.
So even if you don't know what it is or how it feels, and you want to make sure you hang on to it, write it down, put it somewhere, so that you can go back until you get to the point where you're comfortable with it, with connecting with it. Write them down and see if something happens. Go back to those words and say, "Oh, I felt this way. I felt this way. Or I dreamed this." Like, oh shit, it really came that way, or it didn't come that way. I learned that my dreams are never what I dream it. It's never ever the exact same thing. It's always something in the lines of that. Like it's never exactly what. But some people dream exact. I don't dream exact. So.
Yes, I don't dream at all. I mean, I do dream, but there could be meaning to it. Who knows? I have a little dream journal, but I think for me, like, no, you know what? That's it's funny that you say that, because there was a moment where I experienced something, and I remember I was like, I've been here before. Like I've been here before. Like But was it a dream? Was it real? Was it a memory? Like,
was it deja vu?
Was it deja vu, right? And then it's like, had I had written it down, maybe I could have referenced it at some point, But again, you could say it could be a year, it could be 2, and you might not even have that journal no more. But I mean, it's just interesting, because there's so many ways to keep up with this kind of stuff. But it's also, it can be scary. But
it can be, which is why I don't. Like, for the dreamers out there, definitely don't allow your mind to trick yourself to believe that all your dreams are meaningful, or something's gonna happen. I learned it early on too. Like, it's always a feeling associated with. It's not just a dream in itself. You don't just wake up and say, "Oh my God, something's gonna happen with that." I dream all the time that stuff don't happen, but I know the ones that when I wake up. I know the ones when I wake up, I'm like, this means something. But I dream all the time outside of those intuitive pools, so I don't only dream those dreams. I dream silly stuff all the time.
Right.
But it's easy to, when you first start dreaming and you see that something they have meaning to it, when you prove that, it's easy for every time you do something, you be like, oh, this is about to happen.
Oh,
this is about to happen. And then you start, overwhelming yourself. And then you start wearing yourself out, and now you're distracted from things in your life. Definitely don't do that. Get a handle on that pretty early on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all taking notes or what? Because this is all the tea that you need. Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell the audience, or whatever is on your mind? I mean, again, I really appreciate your insight on all of this, because it really does help me navigate. I'm a forever learning student. I'm a student of knowledge. I need that, and it's important for people who don't have these kind of resources, or at least this community or a sense of belonging. And so I really appreciate you coming on and really discussing what your beliefs are, and what who you are, and what you go through. Like, it's important, so I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I would just say, work on that trust. Work on that trust. And I think, to your point, I'm so glad that you said that. The point in which you think that you've learned everything is the point in which you failed yourself. 100%.
Right.
I love to learn when you're in a conversation and you don't a person gives a word you don't know, look it up. It can be as simple as that. Or when you see things in nature, look those things up, research, read. You know what I'm saying? Always put yourself in a place of self-reflection as well. And hold yourself accountable.
That part.
Do all of those things on a consistent basis, so you get to know who you are. You get to use your peers, use your coworkers, use your boss, use your mentor. I have a mentor. And it's just it has really, really, really been good to me. All the people in my life and all the experiences. Yeah, we sometimes want to turn back the hands of time, but don't. Don't want to turn back the hands of time. Don't regret things that you went through, because they gave you an opportunity to learn. What not to do, what questions to ask the next time that you encounter someone, whether it's romantic, a friendship, whatever the case may be, a job,
right,
or a career move. So that is what I would definitely tell the people. Never put yourself in a place where you feel like you've learned it all. You have automatically failed yourself.
I heard that. That's some real right there.
It's your frequency.
It's all about the frequency. You have to. You don't have to advertise her brand. You feel me? Well, if you guys ever want to reach out or follow or get to know Miss Ashley, I will have her information to all her social media handles in the episode description. Until then, we will talk later, y'all. Have a good night.